Hi, welcome back to my channel. Antoinette here. I wanted to do a review of the Book of Shadows, An Alchemist's Story by Andrea Aste, and it's been done with the help of John Matthews, Sasha Graham and Rana George. Now this, I've done a walkthrough, not a walkthrough, I've done kind of a flip through, first look at the item when it came in from Kickstarter, and I have now had time to read the rather lovely book and enter the world of Andrea Aste. And I have to say it's been thoroughly enjoyable. So I think based on the fact that there's so much effort been put into this companion book, it's only right I come back and then talk about how I found my journey so far. So go and grab yourselves a cup of tea and let's have a look into the world of Andrea Aste. I do apologise if you do pick up on the banging in this at all at any point. Unfortunately, I'm surrounded at the moment by people building, including my own house as well, but all the houses around me are also building and taking advantage, and I can't escape the external noise. So just a little bit of a backstory, which I have touched on with this. I backed this on Kickstarter. I'm so pleased I did. And with the Kickstarter tiers, there was invites to come to some Zoom meetings and listen to Andrea talk about his enthusiasm and his creation of this book and the whole tarot deck, in fact. So the Alchemist story, and then we have the backstory to how the tarot was created by the Alchemist, if you like. The Alchemist created to be the designer of the deck, okay? So the video is, there's a video that goes along with all of this, and I think it's mentioned on here. Yep, so there's a mockumentary. So for those of us that buy the deck, you get an invite to a mockumentary. And when you do, you get to enter the fantastical idea to explore the reality of creation within this made-up histories and stories, okay? And then that creates the Book of Shadows and thus how it was born. There's an item called Phaistos Disc, which has been used as a logo and then created a made-up story. Now, it's been a while since I attended that talk, but I'm not sure if this is what we're calling Phaistos Disc. I could be wrong, but for the moment, that's perhaps how I'm understanding it. And Andrea, if you happen to come back and watch this, please put into comments where I've missed Phaistos Disc or if I've missed it. And within this, it is based on, like I say, so the whole thing is a mockumentary, a creation, a mashup of history and imagination, creating a kind of world of amalgamation. And in here we have like art reflects life in the creation. So for me, one of the comments I think I said to Andrea is by creating this book, the story that goes behind the book that created then this amazing tarot deck, which is just beautiful. It was almost like he was the alchemist. And so also when we read the cards, I think the way he was kind of perceiving it is that we then become the alchemist as we read the cards, because we're then creating our own story with the cards. So it sort of manipulates our views on reality and becomes our stories. And that was just something I wanted to say. Where should we start? So if I start with some of the other bits and bobs. So the book, should we just go with the book to start with? Get that out of the way. So it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. It's been so well created. It's a hardback. The images are fantastic in this. So I've read all the cartoon transcript. Please don't ask me to give you notes because I'm terrible. But basically we have kind of like 4 words and some of it's written and merged. So as I say, you will have difficulty unless you know the stories well, differentiating between which bits are real and which bits have been added for the imagination. And we have kind of like this story of being sat and the thought and how it comes to reality and then how we conceive such an idea. And here we have, so conceiving of a mythical fantasy place revolving around the creation of tarot was my way to reach the core of its power and understand it. So this is Andrea sat in his room here. And we've got a date there, London 2022. There is a prologue. The past is never where you think you left it. And we see that image that I showed on the back of the book in multiple places across kind of all the bits and bobs that I've got. He has the collaboration, so we actually hear from the tarot readers and creators themselves in like kind of email text formats with interlaced bits of their knowledge as well, like woven through in the kind of bit here where we have Andrea like thinking, wondering. So what was the question here? I can't remember now. So I'm not going to read obviously the whole book, but we have sigh. What we can't say, and we can't whistle it either. Sigh. I wish I could find a way to whistle it. And then bing. And then he gets his email from Sasha. And this is Sasha talking to him about the cards, about tarot, about how it is kind of created. So here we have the tarot is different from a normal pack of 56 playing cards. Tarot contains an extra set of 22 cards called the Major Arcana. Arcana means secret, so it's got the big secret. A tarot deck is always 78 cards. Tarot was used by wealthy and poor alike during the Renaissance. Rich and powerful families commissioned great artists to paint tarot decks. These decks might commemorate important events like a marriage. The artist placed family members inside these art objects, and the general public used disposable tarot cards for entertainment and gaming in taverns and pubs alike. The Major Arcana combined with something special. Regular cards didn't. What's it say? The Major Arcana contained something special. Sorry, not combined. Regular cards didn't. The majors were illustrated. They contained the scenes with action and drama. They held angels, celestial beings, mortals, and mysterious beasts alike. Major cards looked like stills from a movie or a picture book. Hundreds of years later, the artist Pamela Colman Smith illustrated an entire 78-card deck of tarot. This is called the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot Deck. Tarot's 78 cards are now very completely illustrated. Tarot became a readable book of secrets and the book of you. So every time we draw a card, a new option appears in our lives from what we draw. And there's plenty more on there as well. Now I did touch on this. So this was a brilliant little story here. I love this. So there is a kind of where the story starts. So basically there's a building in, I'm going to say London, and it's called the Lucifer Building. It's kind of been made up, but basically what happened is in the basement of the Lucifer Building, they uncovered the Book of Shadows, or the Alchemist's Tarot, and that's where this whole kind of story sort of begins to unravel, and that's how we delve into finding it. So the Book of Shadows was created, this has been drawn as well and created by the lovely Andrea. So all the backstory and work that's gone into this is just, you know, mind-bogglingly creative, amazing. I just don't have the words to describe. It really did feel like I was being taken along for the ride with his creation of this deck. His mind must just move so fast, and I don't know where he had time to create all of this, read all the backstories, all the hidden manuscripts and paperwork that he's read to bring all of this to life. I think he mustn't sleep at all. So we have scientific points of view. So here I did touch, so we have what looks like cards comparison. So we have the well-known Visconti Sforza. We have the Marseille here, and then we have the Alchemist's Tarot. So this is not an old deck per se. This is one that Andrea's made up to help create what we read about in this book. And these cards we do see in coloured versions in the deck. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the Hanged one immediately. Let me just put you on pause a second, we'll have a look. Okay, so I found the Hanged one, and I'll just put him here next to that. So we have the, actually should bring it up for you. So we have the Hanged one in a pencil format drawing, and then we have him in the colour drawing. So it's a slight difference. It's just a much older looking card in sepia tones, or, you know, a more muted colour palette. Now there are these, Andrea did talk about when he was making up his mockumentary, how he had to insert, so here we have a museum and there's a picture of one of the cards from The Alchemist has been inserted into this picture. So he's taken photos and things from bits of paper and stories and history, and even here he's inserted his artwork onto the London Underground. He's popped it onto a bus, you know, inserting it onto a tie, onto a wine bottle, creating postage stamps. So all of this are parts of his imagination where he's like, how can I, you know, bring all this to life and make it look real? And this is how he's doing it. So inserting it into the art exhibition at a museum. Creating fake headlines for The Alchemist and his life and times. I believe these ones as well. So again, so here we have Professor Prescott broke the unbreakable. Professor Prescott broke the unbreakable code. So we have a sat here, and then we have all the inserts of the fake images for them to break. And this tarot deck, I'm not sure. I'm sure this was an extra in the Kickstarter, but I just couldn't afford it. Kicking myself because it does look amazing. But I have them in colour format. So there's all of these, and then we have, you know, the adverts for the mockumentary, and then we come into, and it is very much, this is it. So it's a cartoon-based story, starting with, you know, how Andrea ends up into the world of the alchemist and how the story unravels. So he gets a phone call from his friend invites him over, and then his friend starts to explain to him about the world, you know, asks some very delving questions. And we have the people who are uncovering, like finding all the hidden secrets of the Book of Shadows and the Alchemist story, which have been locked away for many, many years. And they all kind of come to light. And then there's all these pictures. Andrea's looking at them. You know, he gets challenged with, what do you see? So his perceptions of things are challenged by his friend. And then we have the world of Sapientia. I'm not actually sure how you pronounce that. And then off we go. And we have these like really weird names like QFWQF. So I'm not sure if that's like, I'm not sure. Would you say like Farquad? Quafka? I don't know. There's lots of bizarre names in here. And then we have like the beginnings of the stories. So somebody who gets banished from his place of origin, where he's learning all these things, but he's reading books that he shouldn't be reading, and off he goes. He gets banished, and then he becomes our alchemist basically in the story. Or I'm not sure if we're going to call him the hero, but he gets banished away, and then he has the trials and tribulations. He gets banished to the tower, and in the tower he has his two companions which are with him that have been there since I'm going to say millennia. That's not the right word, but we're going to say millennia. And they were with the original wizard that used to run the tower and all the machinery and things that are in there. So slowly he finds, I think he comes across the wizard's book, the old wizard's book. These two know how to work the machines and things. And then we get further and further into the stories of what he's after. We have like the Sands of Time. He does go on quite the journey. He gets sent to like this weird kind of multiverse place where he meets, I can't remember what we're calling this person now. So finally, you've awakened. I've been waiting for you. And he says, where am I? And then the reply is, nowhere is everywhere. Here, not there. There is not here, nor there. Now is then, and nothing is everything. And then he just says, a little bit confusing, don't you think? So we go on to the story, and this person's like trying to give them some wisdom and some light. We have the shadow that comes to fight him. In gaining his wisdom, he also becomes old. So his journey kind of like is, I don't know, I'm going to say sped up. It happens a lot, doesn't it? They say when you have like a kind of awakening, you get like a grey streak in your hair and things. So it's very more reminiscent of that to me. And then we have like the bad guy that comes to fight. So this is like the shadow and light, that constant shadow and light, that fight that always goes on in every story. And that fight carries on. And then he kind of like tumbles back through the portholes or wormholes and lands in a place where he, where are we? Is this where he comes back to learn from somebody else, isn't it? So he comes back and he starts learning. Then we drop into the cards for the Book of Shadows. And this also tells us about, you know, the suits, the reds, the whites. We have numerology. And then we have more kind of... Now, I don't know if these are all, like I said, because there's so much creativity in this, I don't know how much of this is real, how much is based on fact and reality, because this is beyond my own esoteric knowledge. And that's the point to this, I think, is that it pushes you. So it talks about all of these cards. Here we have Viveri, Veniversum, Vivus Vici. By the power of the truth, I, while living, conquered the universe. Which is actually a really nice saying. And these are kind of based on, so this is based on, I think, 4 manuscripts that Andrea has read. And the Voichnik, I can't pronounce it now, manuscript being one of them. There is some stuff in here about mathematics. Have I passed that page? Yes, I have. Let me just come back. So it talks about why planets are not cube-shaped. We have like the cosmic egg, some information on the cosmic egg, which I think is something I normally call the Bosch egg. We have the sigils of the tree seals. I think we're talking about the 10 Sephira, or the 10th Sephira here. Coming back again. Oh yeah, so this one talks about, so we have the suits up here, and this one talks about specifically the origination of the coin and the Ouroboros that we see on it, and where it comes from. So basically it's a cycle of life, death, rebirth. What was depicted on the reverse, however, nobody knows. That is still a mystery on this one. We have the Magnus Opus, and here we have like a tower, and we have the Tetractys triangle, which is where the mathematics comes from. Oh, so here is the Tetractys triangle with Pythagoreans working out that the kind of mathematical philosophy of 1 + 2 + 3 + 4 = 10. And this one here again has depictions, so it tells you about everything here. So above the so we have the 3 battlements with 3 circles, topped by another representation of the number 10, which is this little symbol here, and it's held here as well. And these have 3 dots on 3 sides, so that gives us a 9, and then I'm guessing the 10th is the one in the middle. So that was part of the mathematics here. And we have talk about the 4 elements. I think that's probably quite familiar to most of us. The cosmic fish. Yeah, so we go there, and then we come back into our story where he travels the seas and ends up in a strange land working for very rich people who want to steal his cards that he's creating. And in order to get out of that, he creates a fire but accidentally burns the whole house down. And then he's kind of pursued by their remaining child across the multiverse looking for him, trying to find the book of, you know, the cards as well. So he pops down to the basement to hide his cards so that nobody can get them, and in doing so he transports them to a strange world, basically. And the story carries on. So as you can see, it's an amazing creation of somebody's imagination, and we get to the cards. So he gives us these beautiful descriptions of the major arcanas. Now, I haven't read every single description. I've only used it if I needed to. And he then does the minor arcanas. And they have the keywords. So really, they mean the same as a Rider-Waite-Smith deck would mean. There's not a lot of difference here. So you don't have to worry too much about, you know, the cards not quite being the right colour or the right picture. The pictures do follow, I think, to me, that system anyway, so I found it quite easy to read. We have the Lost Arcana here, and we have reversals, so it tells you a bit about reversals and gives you some guidance on how to read them. And there are 3 different ways of reading reversals given in this book, okay? So that's nice. And then at the end you get like some wording from Rana George, and she talks about the kind of magical spark and the multiverse. And she signs off on us. And then we have some stolen pages. So there were some stolen pages from the manuscripts that were found eventually. And within those we had some hidden tarot spreads. So we have them here. We have the Manifestation Sigil, which is a 8-card spread. We have the Casanova, which is a 7-card spread. The Galleon, which is by the Alchemist himself. So this is a 5-card spread. We have the Ancestry, spelled with a TREE. This is a 9-card. We have a 6-card spread here for Pegasus. And then we have some information about Ardestine and what happened to him. And he was somebody who would travel and worked for Queen Elizabeth I. We have his ship here. He kind of disappeared after Queen Elizabeth. And then we come back to basically the family where the house got burnt down. We have Umbra, who chases him all around the world, and then kind of revives himself. So once all these cards are found, he wants to know what's going on and comes to claim them. And everyone's like, oh no, you know, you don't exist. However, there is a twist to the story here within these pages, and a family true lineage actually exists and wants to claim their cards. And then we get to the end where we have like how to find Andrea Aste. So we have Instagram, at artist Andrea Aste. We have TikTok, andrea.aste, Facebook, andrea.aste18. You can go to YouTube, Andrea Aste's World. You have www.andreaaste.co.uk. I mean, honestly, there's so many places to find this chap. It's amazing. I don't know why I haven't come across him before. And that is the book. So as you see, loads in that book. I think it's absolutely fascinating, amazing. And if you enjoy that kind of creative element of somebody's brain and seeing how it all kind of unfolds, this is a must if you buy the deck. Absolutely. So as I said before, I purchased a bit of extra on the Kickstarter backing. And with that, I got kind of follow me, and it comes with this key on my scrolls. And then some extra pages. Now, I like to think of these as pages that were lost in that fire, but I could be very wrong. But this is how my imagination now is viewing these and adding to this story. So we have more notes on reversals. These are basically, so let me see, what does it say? So it's translation of famous letters on parchment in the Royal Museum of History of Science. Unfortunately, they're very bad state. Conservation, some lines are difficult to read, others are completely lost. Consequently, to interpret these is very difficult, basically, is what we're saying here. So there are extra marks where lines are lost, unreadable, or not, translatable. So in here we have these little box texts. And this does give me information on how I might read reversals for the cards. And it is signed from Professor Norman Desmond, History of Experimental Science, Lafayette University, USA. So yeah, so it gives us those for the majors. Madame Werfkin gives us how to go deeper on readings. Now she's telling us about the 3 kind of elements that you find on a card. So you have the image, the name, and the number in most cards. And then she talks about how to take that and deepen your reading, your understanding of the cards. And she starts with, okay, my friends, let's commence. We have different approaches to tarot, and the Devil card is, I think, one of her favourites, so she likes talking about that one. So she gives her viewpoint based on the Devil card and gives us how she's viewing and reading it. We have her way of tarot, so she's encouraging us to use our imaginations and stretch what we see within the cards and take more from it, from what we get. So here she's basic, very crude illustration. So here's your illustration. You have a foreground, you have colours, you have actions, and you have a background. And then off the foreground, you might have extra things that you can bring in and add. So like when you look at colours, some decks would be like the ratio of colour on a card means something. Other decks, you might be like, that colour keeps popping out, and actually that colour to me means X, and then that's what you bring into your reading. And then other things that might come with you, okay? So you might think of literature, you might think of a book or a poem, it might be a song that pops into your head, it may be a picture, a painting, a sculpture, quotes that might come into your mind. Maybe you'll think of a film that you've seen and a particular part of a film or a character. Science, nature, elements, phenomena around you, history, words, concepts. foreign languages, you know, so many things, culture, people that might come to mind when you look at a card that will add that layer to your reading. So she has prepared example based on the devil, and of course one of the films being Lucifer, the television series. We have an historical figure, which would be Napoleon, that she's thinking of here for the devil. And that is, so finally, my dear reader, I hope my words have inspired you to explore further into the world of tarot and finding your own personal path to reading and interpretation. So that's very nice. And then we have the great Athana, the Furnace of Arcana. These are two spreads. And if I remember, I'll come back and do these at the end. So it's using the 2 extra cards that come with the deck. And it's a trick that many of us tarot readers use. So you find the cards, you find the card in front, the card behind, and then that gives you your reading. So for each card there, so we've got 2 different types of readings. I can't quite explain what they mean though. So we have the Lost Steps and we have the Mirror cards. And then this is trying to explain the reading. And we have an example there of a reading. And then that is it, yeah. So we have that far. Let me know what you're thinking. Have you been tempted yet? Have you popped over to have a look? Let's just do the quick look at the websites. Okay, so when you type in Berith and Brimstone, which is the website that comes on the tarot box here, www.berithandbrimstone.co.uk, and it does say London here. This is the page that you get. So it's full of like all the amazing art and projects that have been created. So you can flip up and down through those. It tells you about Berith and Brimstone is a London-based laboratory for esoteric innovation founded by Andrea Aste and Neil Kelser. We love magic in all its forms and we explore the shadowy places between art, books, theatre, immersive technologies and the occult. And then there's some more writing there, and then you can contact them and leave your email address and things so you can get updates. And this is part of like, I'm just like, wow, like, you know, even to think of creating a website. And then you can click here, you've got about, contact and shop. So we've read, and then this page takes you on to somewhere else. So finally, to purchase this deck of cards, books and fine art prints, you should visit the Oracularium store, which is one that he also owns. And then here we are in the Oracularium store. So there's lots of different things here that have been created by him. We even have the Lilliput Tarot, which I've seen one person using actually on YouTube. And it's tiny miniature cards that you can hold in your hands. It's a really cute deck. The Oracularium looks like an amazing oracle deck. I actually quite like to get that, I think. And he has like his limited edition versions as well. Night Symphony Art Page Gallery. Here we have the deck. Let's have a look at that one. Is that just this deck? Might be. Yep, so that's just this one. And then we have Andrea Aste World. I told you, lots of places to find him. So here we have Major Arcana Tarot, the Book of Shadows. The Genesis Collection. The Book of Shadows, an Alchemist Story, Destiny Box Editions. This one's £160. And here we have the Book of Shadows, an Alchemist Story, which I believe comes with the book. So let's just have a look at this one. So this is part of what I have here. So yeah, so it's £60. Now, if I'm correct, free shipping worldwide. Okay, £60 free shipping worldwide. That's pretty amazing. You may have to pay tax when it enters your country, but you know, most decks cost £60 plus shipping plus tax to get to UK. So this if it's coming from America, would be costing me nearly £120. So I think that is absolute steal, and I don't know how he's done it for that much money with all of this work that's gone into it, but I highly recommend it. So do pop along and get it. And then there's more information there, so you might want to read up on that to get more information about anything that I've kind of missed, scaled back, or even perhaps misinterpreted, because it happens, you know, we do get it wrong sometimes. And then there's lots here, so we've got tarots and oracles, art prints, books, graphic novels and things. So yeah, I do recommend having a look. Okay, so as I said, it comes in a tuck box. These are the backs, absolutely beautiful. So they are reversible if you want to reverse them, and the book does give you guides on how to do reversals. Bring it down a little bit. And I really enjoy using these. So I've chucked a couple readings on Instagram with these. I have played with them. I've read the book. I really enjoy the colours. Then we have the mirror card. High Priestess. I can see more into the pictures now than I saw on my first kind of look. Like this one, for instance, I now see that we have potentially 2 animals, not 1. I can see the 2. You'll be pleased to know. Our magician. She keeps coming up for me. Had her a lot lately. But yeah, so I've got those. And then I was playing around with them and I was like, well, what sort of cards can I use with these? Because I was finding it difficult to match them with something to read. So I was looking, yeah, specifically for something to go with them. And because I then read that the Voynich, oh my goodness, why can't I say that word? Anyway, that book, which I'll just write down below, was also used as inspiration for the Enchanted Unicorn Oracle by Priestess Moon. Here we are. The Voynich Chronicles, Papers, Manuscript book. I could see kind of resemblances in the pictures, and I just found that these, actually, they worked really nicely together because they're both beautiful, bright, colourful. They have a very similar artistic style to them. So I found that they paired quite well, and I quite like that. You might completely disagree with this, and that's okay. But yeah, so that was what I was doing, like, you know, 9 of Swords with divinity, and this person saying, you know, balance the physical and the spiritual rather than just being stuck in your head in the moment. Here we have our Queen of Swords. This one's telling us to get psychedelic. Wisdom from the fairy folk. It doesn't all just have to be yourself in your head. Bring some enlightenment to what you're up to. Oh, I see. Page of Coins. Talk about material world. This card, by the way, every time I look at this card, I see a bird. I see like a bird's eye, and I see a beak, and I see a bird as his head. I very rarely see his actual face. And I quite like my bird, my bird's eye view of the coin. But with that we have snacks. So isn't it, they're like that mirroring what they're doing, releasing judgments around food. So perhaps he's wondering, should he spend it on food or should he use it more wisely? And this one's saying, if you want some food, go and eat it. Don't you know, hold back. Toadstool's secrets revealed, and the Knight of Swords is off on his quest to find his secrets. So yeah, I really quite liked playing with those. And there's one other deck which looked very, or I thought went very well with this. And that is the Earth Angels by Amanda Clark. Just for a sort of wrap-up message. I thought these, let's just take that one off a second. So we have Free Spirit with the World. We've got the circles. Yule with our 10 of Wands. That's actually quite reminiscent of where I am right now in my life. We are still in winter, so not quite Yule, but we're still in the deep thick of winter. It's very cold today. And that kind of unburdening of ourselves with the 10 of Wands. Faith with our 3 of Cups. So I have found the keywords are really nice matching with this. The art is very different, very folksy, but the words were going really nicely. So here we have we were talking about release with the Six of Swords and, you know, going forwards into the world. Grounding with our Eight of Swords. So get out of your head, ground yourself. We have the Lamas here. So it's kind of a harvest of sorts, but we have the Eight of Cups. Walking away, but walking away and remembering what you've got that's good. So that, you know, this is just me, my ways of how I'd be reading these cards together and interpreting things. So Two of Wands and mercy. Is it a mercy mission? Or do you need to rethink what you're up to? Are you doing it for the right reasons? Room with a view for the King of Swords. Perfect. And we even have a bird there looking out. So we have the air element looking out. So yeah, these are some of the ones that say I've been enjoying these. I don't know what you guys think. And then lastly, let's take a look at that spread, shall we? Hope this isn't too onerous for you all. So let's take a look at this weird spread. So we're told never to shuffle 5 times, because apparently if you shuffle 5 times, you shuffle the deck back to where it began. I don't know how true that is or not. So let's just give it a shuffle anyway, because we've seen a lot of those cards come up in a certain order. And then we are going to need to find, I'm going to have to split this deck up because it's so thick. So we're looking for our staircase. Which is bound to be in the other deck, other half of the deck, isn't it? That's 1. So we have our cards. Sadly, the High Priestess remains in my deck, so she's not out. Okay, so what do we want? So I know where they are. It's in the middle. I didn't really think about what I want to wish for, so we'll just see what comes out. Right, let's just visualize the path that leads from your present situation. So it doesn't tell me which way round the cards go. Does it matter which is top and which is bottom, or is this going to be one of those spreads where you can move them around? Think about what you want to ask for. Yeah, take the deck, shuffle it thrice, go through a deck, take the cards coming immediately before and after the steps. The card coming before and after the mirror. Arrange them as shown below. Which I've done. Path from your present situation to realization of a wish or the answer to a question. Focus on the 2 cards. Remember, the goal is not the destination but the journey itself. The first step. Okay, it really doesn't say, so I'm going to do, because I did it upright, this must be what's behind and this must be what's in front, so we'll do it that way. Or as it did it. No, we'll do it that way. So there's that one. We'll do the same with the mirror cards, so what's behind, what's in front. Okay. See if we can make sense of these readings. So this is Nigredo, so this is blackness. This is the first step to the great work. The blackness is where no light has ever been or ever will be. It's the place of absolute darkness. So this is from where everything originates. So basically I'm going to call that past. Yep. So from the past we have the death card. So we're having transformation, looking to become something different, something new, rebirth, regrowth, changing directions. The card shows dark matter with which you must work in order to answer your question or to make your wish into something concrete. Focus on its message and use it as a piece of rough clay from which to shape its beautiful vase. So what do I want to transform into then, I guess? And then we have the redness, which is the final stage of the magnum opus. So what was once shapeless is now being shaped, okay? The idea is now becoming reality. It's an alchemical transmutation. Everything is as it was meant to be. So the card shows a possible outcome of a quest or a solution to your question, provided that the alchemical process is carried out correctly, however, of course, because it's not set in stone. So it depends on how you shape this to get to this. So the Knight of Cups, I mean, he's very very happy, isn't he? He's got a very plump horse as well. And I do like where he's heading. Looks like he's off on his travels, but definitely coming from a place of difficulty and transformation first. So because I didn't really have a question, I'm not really sure where else to put that, but for anyone hearing this, perhaps that's for you. So maybe you are in the throes of trying to transform something that you're fed up with, that you want to come out of, and it is about how you embrace that, how you bring it through emotionally, and how you move with your kind of intuition. Are you doing it with love, with integrity, with honesty, or are you doing it all for the wrong reasons? So don't chase things for love's sake. Chase things because they mean something to you and because they feel right, okay? Not everything is correct at all times. So that's something there. And then with this mirror in the mirror card, this one, so whiteness, it's the strong emotions, desires and passion that lie in your heart, which could be lights that guide you safely or radiant fires that burn you to cinders. So here I have the sun. I'm saying I now. Clearly I'm claiming this reading for myself. So I have the sun, or we have the sun, and obviously it's talking about nurturing, health, well-being, happiness, good state of mind, everything being hunky-dory in the right place at the right time. The sun, the light coming in. So, you know, if you're witchy, you could liken that to in bulk, because we're into February. You could liken it to the fact that spring's coming, sowing your seeds. So there's lots there in that one. And we have the mirror, which illusionary nature of perceiving things. Meditate on the message of these two cards to solve the apparent oppositions that you will be rewarded. Okay. And then we have the yellowness. So this is justice, okay? And it's an alchemical phase where the ego is forced to explore beyond itself and engage with and discover the outside world. Here, one's individuality begins a journey of learning and reshaping. The citrinitas brings wisdom and knowledge arising from discovering one's own limitations and strengths. So this is based on limitations and strengths. It shows the forces at work that do not depend on your control and are perceived in opposition of your dreams and desires. Focus on the message of the card and find a balance between it and your dreams. Interesting, because justice is my card, basically. That's probably like one of my core, you know, doodahs. Like security, justice, but not justice as in off with your head. Justice as in fairness, making sure that everything is correct and people are doing it correctly and it's right and fair and just and done with the right intention and integrity. Core value, that's the word I'm looking for. So clearly I love to be in the sunshine, but everything must be right, fair and just. So anyway, yeah. Listen, I hope you've enjoyed this kind of review of the Book of Shadows, and it inspires you as much as it has kind of inspired me, and like I said, got my imagination flowing. If you've got cards that you would play with this, again, let me know in comments, because I think it's just the colourful depictions are just so beautiful. It really does need perhaps a bit more of a mention. I know it's now shipping out because of the Royal Mail strike, so I really feel for creators shipping from the UK right now. Any creator, any little shop, because we just need to be nice to them, I think. But when you get this, I guarantee you guys, you are going to love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, the colours, it's just so playful and brilliant. And yeah, the book makes the deck. Absolutely makes the deck. That's it from me. I wish you well. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.